So today we'll see about the first paper we'll see about is on customer segmentation and how to develop marketing strategies based on the customer segmentation results. And this customer segmentation is done using the CLV value. All right. So let's go over this, how they went about it. So basically, when it comes to customer relationship management, the most important thing there is to look at long term, right? And CLV is one way of doing that. One of the most important ways to look at the long term perspective, of customers. Like when you take the long term perspective, you'll see that close to 80% of the profits are produced by 20% of the profitable customers, the Pareto principle, and 80% of the cost are produced by top 20% of unprofitable customers. So when you start eliminating the most unprofitable ones, or not focusing on the marketing efforts that go to them, while you put your effort on these top 20%, I think it will yield you great results, right? So that's the common theme that is present on this long-term CRM, right? So in this paper, they have shown a new lifetime value or CLV model. How do we calculate it? They call it new probably because of the time when it came, right? Like 2006, it's a very old paper. So we'll just go over what they've done, okay? So on the literature work, they say there are like basically three ways to calculate CLV, okay? One is by just taking in the, all the revenues that come from a customer and then just stopping it at that point and then using that as a CLV. Then there's the second point where you use the components. You split that CLV into three or more possible components, which is basically the current value, the potential value, and the loyalty. So current value will tell you how much revenue has come from the customer or how much profitability has come from the customer up until now. Potential is how much they can generate in the future. And the loyalty will tell you how sustainable it is. So loyalty is also obviously a part of CLV because without that you can't really tell how much profitable they'll be in the future. So it's intuitive that the future profitability will include loyalty as well. All right. So that's the second way. And then the third way is to use the LTV and its segments in collaboration along with other data pieces that you have from a managerial standpoint, right? So those are the three ways that they have mentioned, that's available on the literature. And they're going with the second way where you use the components of the CLV. All right. Now, let me show you what they have done. So basically here is like the phases of this whole exercise of CLV calculation and segmentation. So basically phase one is where they collect the data and then they integrate them into the process. Phase two is where they calculate the CLV and do the segmentation. And phase three is where they use the segmentation results and create the strategies, the marketing strategies. All right. Let's move to the data that they used. It's a 6-month service data of a wireless communication company, a telecommunication company in Korea. Okay, so the data set has close to 200 columns, and there are 16,384 records of customers. Right, the socio-demographic information and usage of the service information is there. Okay, so that's the data. So the first step is to calculate the current value, which is pretty simple. You take, so for the past 6 months you have the amount that they have paid you and the cost that they have cost you, so using which you can calculate the current value. Now moving on to the potential value, this is interesting because here so let's say the company offers 10 different services that a customer can subscribe to at any point in time, like a snapshot in time. He can have all those 10 services if he wants to, right? They are not mutually exclusive, right? So those kind of services you need to pick up, and then you have to see what is the probability that this customer will subscribe to that service, and if he does, what is the profit that you will get from him, right? Now these are two pieces that you want to calculate, right? So the profit part of it, they have simplified it. It's not bespoke calculation. They have just done it at a average. So what an average customer would cost, they're taking it at that level, and then they are comparing it with the profit that they'll get, the revenue that they'll get from any customer. Subtract those two, you get the profit, right? So this part is simplified. So this probability is the one they'll have to calculate using models. So they do that, and then they calculate the potential value for each customer. Okay, so they haven't explained about the model that they've used to calculate the probabilities here. They just told that they have been using this formula to calculate the potential value. The third part of it is the customer loyalty. So loyalty is basically 1 minus churn rate, which is the churn modeling is going to give you. So here there's another classification model that's being used that will give you the churn for this period, for the chosen period on which the analysis is made, and they will calculate the churn rate from that, right? And they'll be using it for the customer loyalty. So basically now once you have those three pieces, so here the idea is not to go detailed into how to calculate the potential value or how to calculate the churn rate. It's basically assuming that you have that information, and then how do you proceed with the segmentation using those components, and how you can create the marketing strategies based on that, right? So now when you see the customer segmentation and analysis, so here they have a cube that you can see, right? So this axis is loyalty axis, and this is the potential value on X, and this Y is this Z is the current value. So Y is the customer loyalty. There are two broad groups that emerge: one who are loyal or have more than 0.5 customer loyalty, and the others who have less than 0.5. And obviously these axes won't be on the same range, so they have normalized it to get to the 0 to 1 and show it on a cube here, right? So those are the two major groups that emerge, and not much can be clearly identified from, no distinct groups are formed from the potential value and current value axis, right? So now going on to the analysis that they did. So what they did is this: they split these groups into different so they split these customers into different groups. So basically all those group of customers who have low loyalty, basically this group, right? This group, that is one group that they took for further analysis. The second group that they took is the customers who have high potential value. So that's the second group. And how did they identify the high potential value? It's basically from the average three standard deviations higher. We just took that standard academic way of doing that, and in case it doesn't yield very great results, or like there are very few people on that subset, then they visually group them based on the distribution of data on that axis, right? So that's the second group, basically high potential value, and the third one will be high current value. Now these are the three groups that they wanted to understand more about, so that they can design marketing strategies for those accordingly. So if the group has low loyalty, they'll try and identify further details about that group as to what they can do to increase the loyalty, right? So if they have high potential value, what they should do to capture that potential value. If they have high current value, then you see how you can retain them and cross-sell more to increase their potential value. These are the aims of the thought process behind choosing these groups. And now going to the first one, so they use the like a decision tree for each of these groups. So they take the first group, they put a decision tree on it with all the variables that you have, and what that tree does is basically split on different nodes using specific variables and the ranges. So this variable is higher than this, split this side, lower than this, split this side, similarly. And at the ending you get a set of nodes, right? At the last tip of the tree you get those leaves, right? Those small nodes. They made sure to prune the nodes, to have enough significance. If there's only one customer on that node, there's no point in understanding that node, so you prune that. You only take those nodes which have significance, right? So you take that, and then so by looking at those nodes and the path which it took to come to that node, you can really understand so the groups of people who have low loyalty or high potential value. So you get certain characteristics of those people from the details of that node and the path it took to reach there, right? So based on that details, you try and formulate strategy. Okay, so here when you see the first one, let's say characteristics of customers in the low customer loyalty. I show you the tree first, that way you'll get a bit more idea. If you see here, so this is overall like number of people, and you split at different places with different variables and the values, right? Now these are the final nodes. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So these 9 are the final nodes that you want to analyze further and the path it took. So basically this must variable should have less than 18 and this variable should be more than 9,300. Then this is the first group, right? Likewise, so if you know what those variables mean, you can really understand what that group is about and how you can use it to create strategies, right? So going back to the place, so if you see here, so customers in the low loyalty space on the cube, the group at the center of the cube, the majority piece, right? So basically it said customers who had no charge of membership fee, mandatory usage less than 18 months, and no payment plan, no loyal payment plan. That's the first group, right? So then the second group will be no charge of membership fee, mandatory usage higher than 18 months, and they use a special phone device, right? So these are the two groups that came up, with respect to low customer loyalty that had significant values on the nodes, right? So basically we go to the strategy that tells, like, the marketing strategy currently the company is using is to give free service to those customers and try and use try and capture the revenue from some other piece of the service that also goes along with it. So the service for the calls is free, but then the other tied up services that go along with the plan, that is chargeable, and they'll try to capture the revenue from that, and that is not working, right? Because this group of people who take that free service are not having loyalty, so essentially it won't help on the long term. So what the change that they're proposing is, it's a better strategy to charge a membership fee in some way and provide better and more services such as discount on the phone bill and other various beneficial services for this group of people. So essentially change the plan that gives you the free service and later trying to capture the revenue, right? So that's what they got from this first low customer loyalty group. The second one is high current value group. So where you have, so here it says based on the standard deviation of the amount that they pay based on the usage, right? So there are two clusters again here, one this and one this. Like technically they don't mean much because the variables are unexplained greatly, but there are two groups there, right? So the finding here is this: customers who do not change plans frequently, they have not chosen an appropriate plan. Like basically they say that if they have high current value, they see that these customers have changed a lot of plans before, and now they have a high current value because they tried to find out which plan is better for them. So basically, they are using the variables like frequency of changing a price plan. So the term after which the service was disconnected and they moved to the next plan, right? So these are the kind of variables that come up when they are looking at this group with a higher current value. Now, based on that, the inference is that if people do not change plans at the start of their journey with this company, that means they are not trying to figure out the best plan for them, right? So that's the inference here, and the strategy is to strengthen the brand image, and then give them exactly what will suit them based on their age or other distinctive factors that they have used there. So basically giving recommendation as to which plan would suit them better. Okay, then comes the characteristic with high potential value. So here the most important thing is the phone devices. So customers who are younger than 28 years and reside on a specific area, they have high potential value. Customers who have are having a higher age also, like customers who are older than 28 but have a special type of phone device, they are also having high potential value. And the reason for this is because the upgraded higher version of the phone devices can provide more services, because of which they have high potential value. So the older phone devices cannot use all those features that they provide or the services that they provide. So the type of phone device determines what kind of optional service plan the customers are provided. So they have higher optional plans to choose from also, right? So now the strategy is to upgrade the phone device. So basically those who have high potential value, let's give them some sort of a points scoring for using the service, and based on that using those points they can upgrade their phone device automatically, right? So this is the kind of strategy that they proposed there. And obviously one strategy is to retain the most loyal customers, which doesn't come from the analysis. They're basically saying you can use the whole all techniques that you use to retain customers. Basically give them acknowledge their usage, give them discounts, surprise them now and then, etc. Things like that. So basically those are the strategy that they have used. So the idea here is to calculate CLV, use different components of the CLV, do the segmentation of groups based on those components, analyze those segments further to understand those segments based on the variables, and then based on the understanding of those segments you create marketing strategies. That's the point of this paper. I have one more paper, but then there's no time, so I think we'll stop at it here for now. So yeah. Any questions? Anything you want to ask about?
Thanks. Just to add, right, the way they have proposed those strategies, if we observe all of that, so some of the variables form the basis of all those strategies, right? So for example, the number of times they have changed the plans, or I think one of the variables that was there was the standard deviation of the usage. And one thing what I have observed from my experience is that most of the times these variables will not be available directly in the data, and we might have to create these variables by doing some sort of a calculation on the raw data and add that as an input to the model. So this is where that entire feature engineering concept comes in, right? And because many people will do this kind of segmentation, they'll apply an algorithm, but that segmentation might not yield the right results or intuitive results. So that's where if we think out of the box and come up with these new variables out of the existing variables in the data, then we could have better results from the segmentation exercise, which will in turn help us give or propose better strategies.
Yeah. So feature engineering is the most important part of the data science activity that you create. Creating models, etc. The more signals your features can provide, the more effective the model can be. It will be easy for it to pick up those cues.
Exactly.
Yeah, perfect. I completely agree with that.